All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. This is Andrew Colvett. Hour 3 happening now and back by popular demand. This is the Pop Culture Power Hour. I'm going to be welcoming my esteemed panel now. We have Morgonn McMichael, TPUSA contributor. Joe Bob, your last name it's never going to be something that I get easily here. Talefi. That's why you're like the guy with one name. Joe Bob Talefi, TPUSA contributor, and Daisy Phelps. She's one of the producers on this show, also our resident pop culture expert and Swiftie. Welcome to the show, to the panel.
Thanks, Andrew.
Joe Bob's not smiling. He's upset. I got his last name wrong, and he's upset.
You said esteemed panel, and if I'm on the panel, I don't know if esteemed is the correct determining word for what we should use.
Well, you've got 1 hour here to redeem yourself, Joe Bob, in the eyes of our esteemed audience. I will tell you that. All right, so we've got a couple of really big topics to get to, and I was gonna get to this in hour 1. I did not because of how esteemed this panel was. This is this story went mega viral yesterday, and that's about the Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker. I think I got his name right, although it is, I feel tempted to say it wrong. But maybe Daisy should give the backstory here, but let me just try. He gives a commencement speech at a Catholic university, basically saying things that Catholics have believed for years, and the world's losing its mind. The world has lost its utter loving mind. I'm throwing it to the panel. You guys know this. We got the clips. We can play them. Set the stage before we go to clip number 1 here.
Yeah, so I think we have all the clips loaded of his speech. It was only about a 20-minute speech, and it's really just making everyone so upset. I think the part that's making people the most upset was that there were a lot of women graduating, and in his speech, he does say, before he gets into what everyone's mad about, he says, a lot of you will go on to get promotions and have careers and do great things. But I think he says, I would venture to guess most of you are looking forward to having a family and getting married. And then he says that his wife would say that her life really started when she got married and had a family. And I think there's women in the audience that have spoken out. I mean, he did get a standing ovation. And even I think Whoopi Goldberg said something along the lines of, like, he was somewhere where everyone believes what he believes, and he said what he believes, and we have to be okay with that, which is kind of crazy that Whoopi Goldberg is even remotely attempting to defend him. Obviously, she says she doesn't believe in any of it, but she does mention that he has the ability to say what he wants to say. People just are really not liking it.
All right, Morgonn, you're the other lady on the panel. I'm going to play the clip after this, but are you just sitting here just steaming? Are you so offended at this Kansas City Chiefs?
Absolutely not offended at all. And I think this is the problem with the societal hypocrisy when it comes to the feminist movement, that so many women in our generation and even millennials have become so used to the idea of, I'm going to climb the corporate ladder and everything is going to be self-idolization instead of actually wanting to have a family, because no lies were said in his entire speech. And it's weird that I actually do agree with Whoopi Goldberg in the statement that these things should be said. He was at a Catholic college. I think it would be a different story if he was at UCLA and where there's a lot of feminists and they would be very more upset about what he was saying. But no, we have a societal problem and a societal gap when there's a large amount of women that are canceling Harrison Butker and signing petitions saying he should be removed from the NFL. And I think there's a huge gap when the NFL is uplifting many players who have DUIs. There are players that are involved with domestic abuse, that have multiple baby mamas, but then one player who speaks out about conservative Christian ideals and values of prioritizing family and encouraging masculinity is a problem.
Yeah, you make a great point, Morgonn. So this is, on average, almost 50 NFL players are arrested every year. Since 2000, the Kansas City Chiefs have supplied 41 of those players that got arrested, and that's tied for 4th in the league. It's not even the number 1 team. So this is since 2000. That's 129 cases of domestic violence, 120 assault or battery cases, and a handful of murder and homicide cases. There's zero outrage for any of those, but nope, Harrison Butker is the man on the hot seat. So without further ado, I'm going to play. There's 2 clips here that are really, I think, the core of what people have gotten up in a tizzy about. Let's play 103.
For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
All right. So, I mean, that was just part one. So he said a lot of you are going to do great things in your careers, but I bet you're more excited about having a family. Nothing would have even registered on my Richter scale, but let's keep going. This is a little bit longer, and then we'll get your guys' reaction. 104.
I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
All right. That's I mean, I'm offended. Joe Bob, I bet you are just sitting here just ticked off, beyond get out. So Joe Bob, I can see it on your face right now. Your reaction.
Well, my first thought when hearing this and then seeing all of the outrage about it is, since when did we diminish the value of doing the one thing that society is supposed to do? If you boil everything down in culture and society to why are we here, you get to, well, to perpetuate the species, to have kids and continue humanity as a whole. And if that is the one singular goal, what then is the most important thing? Being a mother and raising kids. And so I don't understand the idea of, well, you're diminishing. What do you mean diminishing the value of women? We're here openly saying women are the most valuable thing, and raising kids and broadening the spectrum of humanity as a whole is the most important thing. So to have any backlash is, yes, it's ridiculous, but it's also just, it doesn't make any sense when you look at the grand scheme of why we're here. And I know that's a little philosophical for the moment, but just as a whole, since when did we diminish the value of motherhood to the point where it's a bad thing to be called? I'll tell you, my wife is like, yeah, like I'm a mom. That's what I am first and foremost. And nothing that he said in that speech would offend her at all. If anything, she'd be proud of it.
Well, I completely agree. I mean, Joe Bob, but the reactions would say differently, right? I mean, let's go ahead and show image 127. This is Kara R. I don't know who this person is.
Sick of losing.
Tweet. 127. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. Harrison Butker. Every time a woman learns how to read. 128. So Colin Kaepernick gets blacklisted from the NFL for advocating for Black lives, but Harrison Butker can give a misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic speech without a peep from the NFL, and I'm supposed to believe that's conservatives that are getting canceled? GTFOH. But Daisy, we're hitting a break here, but on the other side of this tweet's wrong because the NFL has reacted. They have given a statement on it. This has gotten so big, the NFL felt like they had to break their silence and come out against Harrison Butker and distance themselves from this guy. I mean, this is getting out of hand, but so much more to get to here, folks. Don't go anywhere. More with our esteemed Pop Culture Power Hour panel when we get back. All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. It's Andrew Colvett filling in for the one and only Charlie Kirk. I'm joined by Morgan, Joe Bob, and Daisy. So Daisy, We just mentioned before the break that the NFL actually did comment. What did they say, and who's saying it?
I think we have it. I think it's 121 if we want to put it up. But basically, they said that he gave this speech in his personal capacity. It has nothing to do with the NFL, and his views are not reflective of the NFL's views, which I think goes for, I don't even know why the NFL had to speak on it, because they're in their offseason. There are NFL players that are legitimately murdering people in their offseason. So they don't have to make a statement on that, but they will make a statement on Harrison Butker, legitimately in tears, crying that his wife is so important to him.
Well, and by the way, Morgan, this was the NFL. This is Jonathan Bean. Harrison Butker gave a speech in his personal capacity. Jonathan Bean, this NFL senior vice president and chief diversity and inclusion officer, tells, this was People Magazine in his written statement, his views are not those of the NFL as an organization. The NFL is steadfast in our commitment to inclusion, which only makes our league stronger. So not only do you have the NFL basically distancing itself from pro-women messaging, but now you've got the chief DEI officer as their spokesperson. Your reaction?
I mean, of course, they're going to want to promote and push diversity, equity, and inclusion and whatever is the next new thing to their players and their audiences, because look at how many millions of people are watching NFL sports games throughout the year. So they're going to want to push an agenda. And I definitely think that a lot of the backlash was instigated. I mean, there was a lot of drama with Travis Kelce hasn't said anything, and he's been in the news lately. But I have a question for all of the feminists who are anti-Butker's speech. Is what legacy are you planning to leave on Earth if it is not raising a future generation? What was your intention of being here on Earth if it's not to create children? And I honestly think that women who are going against Butker and women who say they don't want to have children and the feminists are being selfish because they're serving themselves instead of serving God, instead of serving our husbands, serving their children, and leaving something on this earth other than just serving themselves.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Morgan. I really do. But I do find it fascinating, Joe Bob, that there is, he touched on like IVF and abortion. I think he even went after Joe Biden. The piece of this that is making the most hay, that is the most controversial, seems to be this piece about the women. The women are, the feminists are going crazy. The same people that can't tell you what a woman is are really upset that he's talking about women, Joe Bob.
That's a good point. Maybe he should have opened up the speech with, as a trans woman, I had to get those right in my head, to see how much he could make them angry. But here's the thing that I think is actually pretty interesting about this, and the thing that I like about the radical left being exposed, because as we've kind of discussed on this whole thing, nothing that he said was so outlandish that the average person wouldn't agree with it. And dare I break a Charlie Kirk show rule to the delight of probably Daisy and Morgan, but there are other people that are watching this, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Jason Kelce, his wife, Kylie Kelce, who probably are seeing all of the backlash and thinking, well, what did he say? And then they'll go and watch it and go, well, that sounds pretty reasonable. And so the broader point here, I think, is that, yes, it is a win for conservatives in the fact that, like, yeah, being a normal person is okay and good, but also to the people that we generally don't reach, this guy's intertwined with a lot of the people that are making headlines. Like Morgan was saying, the Travis Kelce's of the world, the Patrick Mahomes of the world, he's on their team. He's in their locker room. He is their friend. I guarantee you they're going to look into this for themselves. And what I would hope is that they come away with it, that the rest of us come away with is, yeah, that's pretty reasonable, and I would probably agree. So hopefully this makes bigger splashes and bigger waves across the scope than even just that we're seeing now. Hopefully people start to realize, oh yeah, the conservative ideals in life are not crazy and radical. They're actually more normal. Well, and the radical lefties that are getting so infuriated over this, those people are nuts.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, Joe Bob. I think that this is like a jump the shark moment for the radical feminazis on the left. You listen to this speech. He's a Catholic, speaking at a Catholic school, like a real Catholic school, not a Catholic school in name only, defending Catholic doctrine. and but also just kind of being like a normal person, and they are losing their mind. And go ahead and throw up 148. There's even a petition that now is around 120,000 signatures demanding that the Chiefs dismiss Harrison Butker from the Chiefs. I mean, this is getting like patently insane. And if you're a normal person, you just look at this and you go, it's not his fault. The problem's not with him. It's with these crazies that are after him. More with our esteemed panel when we come back.